Our next inductee into the Hall of Fame is Joe Marsh. Accepting Joe's award will be his brother Sean. And speaking on his behalf will be Emma Beamer, Randy Richardson, and his daughter, Kira.
Being in this room with you all tonight, brought together to honor some of Washington's greatest coaches, is incredibly humbling and inspiring. The role of a coach is such a uniquely powerful one. Sure, high school coaches are responsible for athletes for just 4 years max, but as evidenced by our attendance this evening, the impact of a great coach extends far beyond those 4 years. While we oftentimes celebrate winning records and state finishes when we consider a coach's success, truly great coaches offer so much more than that. And what a blessing it is for an athlete to experience this firsthand. I am one of those athletes, thanks to Coach Joe Marsh. My 4 years with him have turned into 13 and counting. Now, don't get me wrong, by no means has Arlington girls basketball enjoyed competitive success under the direction of Coach Marsh. That ring always seemed to elude us, sorry Marsh, but the walls and trophy cases of Arlington High School undeniably captured the basketball dynasty that Marsh has ushered in. So let me be clear that Marsh's basketball mind and expertise set him apart from the crowd. We could probably have a lot of fun here tonight, talking basketball philosophy with the amount of wisdom that's present in this group. I don't think I'd bore anyone detailing the genius of Marsh's coaching decisions, defensive schemes, practice planning, and pregame talks. I wouldn't lose you talking about how he got a group of girls born and raised in Arlington to perennially overperform. Now, as a head coach myself on the other side of sport, I can take my whole 8 minutes raving over Marsh's X's and O's. But that's not why Marsh is so special to me. That's not what makes him a Hall of Fame coach. From a spectator's point of view, one might conclude that Marsh's red in the face competitiveness and intensity is what bore him victory after victory. From my point of view, though, it was the exclusive AGBB handshake in the hallway. The loud greeting across the commons, the type of greeting that a dad uses to embarrass his kids while dropping them off at school. It was the launch, what we now call Caitlin Clark threes, during warm-ups at practice. Make or miss, these shots were followed by the claim that it was in his range. Mind you, this was all while Skilo's I Wish blasted over the speakers, despite her begging for some Fetty Wap instead. The scratchy tuning of the radio at the start of the song never failed to provoke several annoyed groans. I rolled my eyes then, but it's truly one of my favorite ways to remember my coach. In love with the gym and unapologetically himself. Thinking back, I specifically have very fond memories of playing in the Tacoma Dome all through my high school career. Naturally, when the state tournament rolls around every year, I want to go back. It's an event that I look forward to, enjoy year after year, now as a spectator coach. Despite the great display of basketball talent at this year's tournament, however, something felt different. Less satisfying, less familiar. What I recognized was that my attachment was not to a place, but a person. Without Marsh's iconic presence, the dome felt empty. That's because playing for Marsh was more than putting on the Navy uniform and full court pressing teams until they couldn't breathe. It was running through walls for him because you knew he was doing the same for you, both on and off the court. It was an experience of mutual trust. It was an entry into his family. It was a welcoming into a deeply authentic and intentional mentorship, one that would continue to blossom far beyond graduation. Long after playing my last game as Marsh's PG, he has continued to show up for me. Whether it was supporting me on the sidelines of my collegiate games, wishing me a happy birthday, invited me to coach in the summers with him, giving me his best sideline out of bounds play, or attending my Friday wedding after treatment and dreaded Seattle traffic. Marsh made our bond a priority. I couldn't offer him defensive stops, assists, or play execution after 2016. But his coaching was never conditional in the first place. In a world where athletes are prescribed value more and more based upon their performance, I am so grateful that I have a coach that did it right. Legacy was a word that Marsh used heavily with my class by our senior year. We took this to heart, like not for ourselves, but for the future of Arlington girls basketball. In tandem with those that came before us, we put Arlington on the map. The effects of Marsh's leadership, however, are not limited to Arlington city limits. The legacy of AGBB and Marsh now go with each of us everywhere we go. For me, the culture and philosophies of my own program are branches off the roots that Marsh established in Arlington. Marsh's emphasis on never getting outworked and playing as one unit live on in the gym at Curtis now. Dead man walking, bottoms, 32 layups, and backboard first rim second, among many other drills, continue to show up on my practice plans. You might even see some tricks out of the Arlington playbook down in the South Puget Sound League too. But more important than any play I could ever call, I always refer back to the pages of Marsh's culture playbook. His ability to manage the challenges of coaching teenage girls is something I frequently reflect and act on. He didn't do it well, he excelled. Without knowing it, my athletes are now taken up in the large wake that Marsh has left in the world of sport. Not only will Marsh's legacy live on in this Hall of Fame, but also in the lives of past, present, and future athletes. A ring would have been cool and all, but the way I felt in Marsh's gym, classroom, and his presence will always be worth more than any title or win. And this is the uniquely powerful role of Coach Joe Marsh. Love you, Marsh. Now I'm gonna pass it off to the lovely Randy Richardson.
Thanks, Emma. First of all, congratulations to all the honorees tonight. As Emma said, I am Randy Richardson. I was Joe's assistant coach from 2011 to 2013. Joe and I always joke that I was the worst assistant coach of all time because my mentality was exactly the same as his. So it kind of ended up being a bad cop type of situation. And so I was a little shocked when I got the nod tonight to go up here and speak for him. But I was so incredibly honored because to have the opportunity to share my heart about Joe Marsh and who he's been to me in my life. I'm just so grateful for. My earliest memory of Joe was in high school. He was on the boys' side at that time, but in the spring, we'd play open gym with all the teachers and the coaches, and Joe was in the gym, so I didn't know him all that well. But what I did know about him is that he could shoot it, and I wanted him on my team. And I know that because I'm extremely competitive, and there was other teachers and coaches who couldn't shoot it, and I didn't want him on my team. I also, in that, I have this vivid memory of Sharon. I didn't know Joe really all that well, but I have this vivid memory of Sharon walking into the gym and she had this baby wrapped around her chest. And based off time, that baby was Kira. And what I also didn't know is that just a handful of years later, what Joe would mean to me, and what he would do is just change the whole direction of my life. I also didn't know that Sharon walking in that gym with that baby would become a great friend of mine and a woman that I look up to and admire deeply for your strength, who you are as a wife, and who you are as a mother. I also didn't know that I was going to have the opportunity to coach that baby wrapped around Sharon's chest. And the amazing strength that you have and who you are, and the amazing woman you are. I just feel blessed to be able to have the opportunity to coach you. In 2011, I came home after playing, And I was done with basketball. And that same summer, Joe got the job at Arlington. He found out I was in town and he gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to coach. And I said, no, coaching's not for me. I wanted to go be a nurse and I was going to finish up some prerequisites, and I thought my career with basketball was over. And Joe didn't let me say no on the phone and said, hey, just come up, talk to me at the high school. So I went up and I chatted with him. And in that conversation, Joe convinced me to coach. And I kind of was like, all right, I'll be your assistant. And he's like, no, I want you to be the head JV coach. And I said, absolutely no way. I did not see myself as a coach. There's no way I was going to be a head coach. And I didn't believe in myself in that way or see myself in that way. However, Joe pushed me. He goes, you are ready. You're ready. You're going to be great. And he literally made me coach the JV team, which I didn't want to do. That moment changed my life. Without Joe taking the opportunity to push for me to see something that he saw in me, I wouldn't be where I am today. Now I'm going into my 9th year as the head women's basketball coach at Central Washington University. And I truly feel like I found one of God's purposes for me in my life. I love to coach, and I love my job and what I get to do every single day. I'm so grateful for Joe and what he was able to do for me and help change the direction of my life. What I love about Joe as a coach, I love his fire. I love his passion. I love his competitiveness. I love his confidence. And I love his courage to make big decisions in games and big decisions for his program. I also love how he works the ref. I love it. He's so on him. It's great. Joe is all in when he coaches. He loves it, and he gives his team and players everything that he has. And what I love about the most is not 1 ounce of it is self-serving. Not one ounce of it is about Joe. All of it is about his program, his players, and the love that he has for the game of basketball. Fire, passion, competitiveness, confidence, and courage. Man, doesn't that describe every AGBB girls basketball team Joe ever coached? Joe didn't just coach the play or the press or the zone. Joe coaches players' hearts and their mentalities. I believe that's the exact reason why he had so much consistent success at a level that you do not get to recruit your talent. Joe taught his players to fight, compete, and put themselves out there physically, mentally, and emotionally without fear of failure. Wow. I have 2 kids, and I couldn't think of anything more. And what for them to receive from a coach. Joe truly got the best out of his teams and players. And that was a lot of times when I personally don't believe he maybe had as much talent as other teams, but he got the best out of them. And most of all, he helped develop some amazing qualities in the young women that he coached that will benefit them for the rest of their lives. And you can see it right here in this room. There are many of those amazing women here and many more out there just taking on the world in the exact same way. Yes, Joe's legacy leaves behind starting a feeder program that provided countless positive opportunities to the youth within the Arlington community, reigniting excitement around high school girls basketball in Arlington, and flipping a struggling program on its head and having more success than it's ever seen. He had a career winning percentage of 76%. He won 8 league championships, 3 district championships, placed at state 7 times, including 2 second place finishes and 2 third place finishes. He was coach of the year 4 times, including the state coach of the year in 2022. He changed the culture of girls basketball in Arlington. However, personally, I believe one of the most amazing parts of his legacy as a coach started in 2021, when Joe was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. While Joe was hit with the most devastating news that was going to change his life, he decided to continue to coach. He still chose to show up every single day and give to those who are around him. Winston Churchill once said that you can measure a man's character by the choices he makes under pressure. What Joe did these past 4 years and who he was to those around him while facing one of the biggest pressure situations you can think of shows just how amazing and special his character is. What an amazing example to all of us. Joe, you are incredible. You're an incredible coach, an incredible man, an incredible human. I'm so thankful for you and what you have done for me in my life. I'm inspired by you and what you have done in yours. Your legacy will continue to live through me and all of the lives that you've touched through this game that we all love. Congratulations on being inducted into the Washington State Girls Basketball Hall of Fame. You are so deserving in more ways than one, and I'm honored to introduce Kira and Fiona to speak on your behalf.
Hello, congratulations again to all the other inductees. To start, my name is Kira Marsh. And I'm Fiona Marsh. And we are the daughters of Joe Marsh. I'm the basketball player. I'm currently a junior at Central Washington University, playing for Randy Richardson. And I do not play basketball. I'm the horse girl. But my dad says I still have a pretty good jumper in the driveway. I'm currently going to Everett Community College to get my nursing degree. As you can see, our dad could not make it tonight. For those who aren't aware, our dad is currently at in-home hospice. He has been battling stage 4 cancer for roughly 4 years, but he wasn't going to miss this amazing opportunity. He is watching at home, but tonight my sister and I will be reading a speech written by him, his thoughts, and his words. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you tonight, given what is definitely the most difficult and more than likely the last speech that I will ever give. So it is important that I say some things tonight, not to depress you, but to show you my love for the game and the people who surround me here tonight. So I have to start with thanking some people. I have to start with thanking my wife, Sharon. Without her, I literally would not be alive today to be here for this speech. She cares for me in every way. I am beyond thankful for her love and support over the years. She gave up parts of her life to allow me to live out my dreams, cheering me and my team on from the sidelines at almost every game, home or away. You may have seen her hiding in the corner of a gym during some of the very intense games. Her sacrifices and support is a huge part of the reason I was able to reach this point and speak before you today. I also want to thank my beautiful daughters. I'm lucky to have people in my life who allow me to do what I do. I have to thank my staff who have gotten me through some hard times throughout the years. Some special shout outs, my brother Sean, who has been by my side through every step of the way, both as a brother and a coach. My longtime friend and AD, Tom Royce, Perigo and Macy, who have been far more than my assistant coaches. They are family. Thank you to Dan Taylor and the WSGBCA board for making this such a special evening. I want to thank everyone in this room for allowing my amazing daughters to share my story. But I'll get to more of my people later. Let's talk about the reason we are here, basketball. Basketball has always been an important part of my life. When talking to Sharon, I had a recollection. I significantly remembered my dad dying suddenly 2 weeks before my senior season in high school. He was my mentor in life and in basketball. We spent a lot of time talking about the game and what it meant. This obviously had a huge impact on my senior season, and if I'm being honest, on the rest of my career as a player and a coach. But basketball was the thing that helped me get through that year and the trauma of losing my father. Stepping on the court allowed me to take my mind off the death of my father for a few hours of the day. That opened me up to the power of the game of basketball and in life. It opened me up to the possibilities of becoming a coach one day. Ever since then, I was set on being a coach.
I got my start of coaching in the boys program, coaching alongside Nick Brown, who I borrowed the idea of family basketball, which I've carried throughout my career. After 8 years of coaching boys, I decided that I wanted to take the next step and move over one seat. In 2011, the opportunity arose and I decided to interview for the Arlington girls basketball head coaching position. During my interview, I told a story of my sophomore year in high school. In 1982, the Arlington girls basketball team went on a magical run to win the state championship. My friend Lori Dawn, who is here today, was part of that winning team. Catch her on a break, she'll tell you all about it. I brought up that memory to highlight the feeling of the excited packed gym during that championship game. I wanted to bring that energy and atmosphere back to girls basketball. Having an energized, packed gym was a huge goal of mine.
Well, I got the job. I was fortunate enough to hire Randy Richardson as my first assistant coach. Seems like that was a pretty good move on my part. Our only problem was that we were a bad cop, bad cop duo, which got us into trouble a few times. But her knowledge and passion for the game was a significant reason why we got to a state championship in only our second season. She is one of the many women in my life who bring strength and success to this program. Many of the women who have gone through the program and have gone on to play collegiate sports, become national champions, and even a handful have gone on to be head coaches of their own programs, such as Randy and Emma. What I always wanted to do is make a positive impact on my players. Seeing these young women succeed make me feel as if I have done my part. Each of these individuals have their own stories, some who have overcome great odds, like Gracie Phelps, who has taught me how to overcome odds of my own. These young women are the reason we have built so much success over the years. Some of my most cherished memories are coaching these amazing athletes.
I would like to take you through some of my fondest memories. In my 2012-13 season, we started off 14-0, and we knew we had a shot at something special. We then hit adversity with injuries, but that wasn't going to stop this team. We went on to go to the state tournament and fought our way to a second place trophy. The success of this team led us to go to state the next 3 years, state 4 straight. That 4th year, we made it back to the championship game, bringing back another second place trophy. Alongside this story, there are many more, such as winning a district championship with my daughter on my team, or Grace and Hyatt coming out of a timeout and telling me that they had no idea what they just said, and going in and draining a game-winning shot to go to the state semifinals. Or how about the time I poked out my contact at a Stanwood game in a late timeout? I stepped off the court to fix it while we were down by 8. By the time I came back, we were tied. That's when I realized they didn't really need me. The bus rides. If you ask any one of my players, they will tell you all about our bus rides on the way back after a win and how they sang the entire way home. AGBB camp in the summer, which brought the whole community together. Or chocolate milks and donuts on Saturday practices. Team trips to San Diego, but not the part where a wave took out Sevi Litton's knee. All of my entertaining moments with the refs. I know I have a reputation for having a great rapport with the referees. Jenna Villa broke the record for 3-point shot in a game. When she hit her 10th, the whole gym went wild. She later went on to become Gatorade Player of the Year in 2023. During Kira's senior season, we went to the semifinals where she hit 2 free throws to put us up 1. A few minutes later, Hannah Rourke grabbed a rebound. We were yelling at her to pass the ball to Kira or Jenna, but instead she went up and got fouled. Keep in mind, the year before, Hannah airballed her free throws. So her at the line in a close game made us nervous. But she proved us wrong, and knocked both down, winning us the game.
Speaking of Hannah Rourke, she is another one of our players who has made a lasting impact on Arlington girls basketball. She played for me for 4 years. Hannah Rourke was beloved in our program. She was the official and unofficial caretaker of underclassmen. This past summer, at the age of 20, she found a lump in her leg. She tragically passed this winter on January 2nd. Hannah and I shared more than a coach-player relationship. We shared a bond beyond basketball. We shared a mutual battle against cancer. 4 years ago, I got some terrible news. It shook me and my family to its core. I was diagnosed with terminal stage 4 prostate cancer. And part of my reason for hanging on for dear life was for my love of basketball. and the love that has been created in this program. Even with this life-changing news, I decided that I was going to continue my basketball journey for as long as my body would let me. I have given everything I have to basketball, physically and mentally, in a way I never knew was possible. January 10th, I coached what I didn't know would be my last game at Cascade High School. January 12th, I lost the use of my legs, 10 days after Hannah lost her life. I was rushed into emergency surgery due to a tumor they found on my spine, leaving me paralyzed and causing me to have to stay in the hospital for 33 days. On February 13th, I returned home from the hospital, and less than a week later, we got the news that the cancer had spread even more and become uncontrollable. This is when we knew that hospice was now the only option.
I wouldn't wish cancer on my worst enemy, but I have learned a thing or two through this whole process. And the biggest gift I have learned is the gift of love. It is the most powerful experience with cancer and with basketball. The love that has been shown to me through this game, the players, the coaches, the town of Arlington, the basketball community, and everyone else who has reached out and shared these moments with me. The love of my family and my siblings has grown through this experience. The love of my wife and daughters have grown through these journeys. Again, with all honesty, the love and support of basketball community has helped me tremendously through this process. I love what this game has given to me, and I am proud to call myself an Eagle forever.
I never had a plan to quit. Basketball has carried me until the very end, and the love of my people has carried me until the very end.
Over the years, I've been asked if I would ever return to coaching boys basketball, and the answer is a resounding no. I love girls basketball. We were never able to get that elusive state championship, but being inducted tonight into the WSGBCA Hall of Fame has me feeling like a champion after all.
We are going to end this with a final break, if you know it. Eagles on three. 1, 2, 3, Eagles. Thank you.
Very inspirational. Thank you, lady. Please do keep Coach Evans and Coach Marsh in your prayers. Beloved coaches that we all respect in our communities.